Tenet. Tenet. The Christopher Nolan film that tried to force its way into theaters through this 2020 pandemic and make a test run on how people would be viewing cinema again. And I did not get to see it in theaters, and I was quite disappointed in its release, basically, and me not really wanting to go to theaters anyway. But I finally got the chance to stream it, and I really enjoyed it. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Everybody was going off on how confusing Tenet is, and it is, but it's like Christopher Nolan confusing. So if you've watched Inception and if you watched Interstellar and some of his other films, you know what kind of style and substance the director likes to dive into. And my least favorite film that I've seen by Christopher Nolan so far is Interstellar. I thought it just went a little bit too out there with too much of a slower pace. Now, I think it's phenomenal. It's shot well, it's made well, all that. But I think for the ideas mixed with the pacing of it, I think it was just too much. It was overdone. Inception is my favorite by far, and a lot of people say that maybe this film Tenet takes place in the universe of Inception, but I would say no. I would say it's a completely different realm. Now, with the playing of, time versus dreams, yada yada, I can see that, but I wouldn't say that it's in the same universe at all. Now, a lot of people say this film is confusing. Now, this is what I want to get into. It's not confusing for its plot. Like, with the time thing, basically, synopsis-wise, this is spoiler-free, so I'm not going to spoil anything. Eventually, human beings or the government, basically, or whoever is behind the military, you could say, discovers this nuclear energy or nuclear product that can go in reverse. So it starts to counteract with time and give different ideas to the idea of time, where time just goes forward. Now they discover this nuclear energy which can actually make time go backwards. So everything that has happened can be reversed. Not necessarily time travel, but time reversion. The confusion, because I was confused through the whole film, the confusion really comes from the writing. It's not the crazy facts of people fighting forward and people fighting backwards and them combining. They explain that. Even like in the third act where shit goes bonkers, they still explain everything, and it's a really thought-provoking story, just like Inception was. So I really hold these films, Inception and Tenet, kind of on the same par as idea creating kind of thing. So I really appreciate that. But where the confusion comes, for me anyway, this is my perspective, is the writing and like how the scenes kind of just happen. Things just seem to happen in this film, and you as an audience know what's going on, but the characters on screen, like especially in the first act, your main character kind of like it's like he discovers that this woman is telling him, oh, we discovered this nuclear technology that can make time go in reverse. Okay, and he listens, and then 2 minutes later he understands everything. Like, there's no mind-blowing moment, and I was confused on that. I'm like, why? Like, it's scene after scene after scene, and I'm talking especially in the beginning of the film, because it's scene after scene after scene where you would think that the character would need some time to process everything, but what Tenet does is the lack of process, and there's no time where the characters actually learn anything or build anything. It just seems to be like one scene after the other, and things just sort of happen. And that's where I found it confusing, because I really had a hard time following the plot, not because of the extra theories and the hard plot points to follow, or the hard things to think about, like, forward time, backwards time, whatever, but just because of the characters' decisions and what was going on, and the way that characters would behave, especially. And that's what I found most confusing, and and I guess, see, I don't know if it's done on purpose or by accident. That's the thing. Could have been done on purpose because that's Christopher Nolan's style, or it could have been done by accident, and probably not by accident. But a lot of people say, "Oh, I couldn't follow this movie," but I wouldn't say it's because of the complicated plot point. I would say it's because of just things that happen that it happens too fast. It's almost the film is on fast forward kind of thing. But this is a film that it brings in multiple viewings. Like, I would rewatch this film so many times, and I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed its style. Like I said, I think Interstellar was the hardest one to get into. Not that it's a bad film at all, and anybody who loves it, I understand why you love it, but it was the hardest to get into with Christopher Nolan's style, for sure. Similarity and similar thing that I've noticed that Christopher Nolan does in his films is he really, in the first act, sprinkles a little bit of different plots and different plot points that are going on that are completely separate to what the film itself. So he'll tell a story, and then he'll like throw flashbacks, for example. He did this a lot as well in Inception, but he'll sprinkle in like a couple scenes here and there where you see some of the characters in the past or whatever, going through some kind of scenario, and you think that it's kind of, because he really does them subtly. Like, he'll throw those scenes in for like 2-3 seconds at a time, but as the film progresses, those scenes start to build and become longer and more. He starts to explain them more as the film goes on, along with the main story of the film, and he does this in here for sure, and it's great. I love that aspect. He did it in Inception as well. He does it in the Batman films a few times, especially with the first one, Batman Begins. And it seems to be a common theme with him. The score of Tenet, unbelievable. I love the score. I think the score of this film could be the best of any Nolan film. I can say that for sure. Anyway, Tenet is fantastic. Very big thumbs up for me. Definitely buyable, and definitely check it out if you can stream it or if you can watch it anywhere. It's definitely something that's going to mix up your mind and give you some different ideas, and definitely a film that you'll want to watch multiple times because you will want to completely understand everything. Again, know who Christopher Nolan is. This is what I say all the time. Know your directors. Like, actors aside, actresses aside, a good actor or a good actress when you see one, but pay attention to the directors, because a lot of times, you'll see an actor in a movie and want to see that film because the actor or actress is in it, but you won't see that it's directed by a director who has his own vision, and then you'll end up hating the movie because you'll be, oh, it's slow, or oh, it's it's too whatever, like yada yada yada. Pay attention to your directors, because the directors are the ones that are going to drive the film to their direction. So if you hate 3 films that's directed by John Doe, why would you watch his 4th or his 5th? It just doesn't make sense. So pay attention to your directors, man. If you don't if you've watched Christopher Nolan films and you don't like them, you're gonna hate Tenet, because Tenet is just gonna be another Christopher Nolan film. But if you love Inception, if you love the Batman series, give it a shot, because it's definitely worth seeing and it's definitely worth talking about. And that's what I'm doing right now. So cheers. That's Tenet. I loved it. This is not a Christmas review, obviously, but there's, we're in December, so you won't be hard pressed on those. So, till next time, cheers.